Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a deep dive into the different states that a Docker container can be at any given time. Understanding these states will help you manage your containers more effectively, especially when troubleshooting or working in production environments. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the different states. We have about 5 different states: create state, running state, pause state, stop state, and dead state. Let's start with the create state, created state. Created state is the state a container is in after it's been created, but before it starts running. And this stage, Docker has um, we can say Docker has allocated the resources for the container, but it hasn't been started yet. For instance, when you run docker create nginx, Docker sets up the container, but it won't start until you explicitly run it using like docker start or something. Second thing, we have Docker running state. The running state is what most people think of when they imagine a container in action. In this state, the container's application is up and running, responding to requests and performing tasks. If you use the docker run command, for example, it creates and immediately starts the container, putting it into the running state. This is a state where your application is active and serving traffic. Third, we have paused state. Paused state is where the containers processed are temporarily frozen. This means the application inside the container is executing any commands, but it's still in memory. You might use Docker pause if you need to temporarily stop the application for maintenance without completely shutting down the container. You can use Docker unpause to bring it back to the running state. We have stop and exit states. A stopped container is one that was running but has since been stopped. The container is still available on your system, but it's no longer executing any commands. For instance, when you run docker stop, and for example, my container or something like that, the container transition from running to stopped. It can be restarted using docker start. The exit state is similar to stopped, but it especially refers to a container that has stopped running because the main process inside it has completed or encountered an error. This is usually happens when the application completes its task or crashes. For example, if you run a short-lived command like docker run something that will show hello world, the container will complete the command and immediately transition to the exit state. And lastly, we have dead state. Dead is a state where you see if a container fails to stop correctly or if there is an error during the shutdown. A container is in the dead state. um, a container in the dead state is no longer basically usable and typically needs to be removed. You might encounter the dead state in cases where a container experience unexpected failures, such as a hardware issue or a forced shutdown. You can clean up dead containers using something called Docker RM. There is also something called a viewing state. um, to see what state your container are in, you can use docker ps. It's something like that. Let's tweet like docker ps. And by default, this command shows all running containers. To see all containers, including those that are stopped or exited, you can use it like that. To sum it up, Docker containers can exist in several different states throughout their life cycle. We have created, running, paused, stopped, exited, or excited, and dead. Understanding these status will help you better manage your Docker environments. whether you're developing locally or managing production deployments. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss any video. And see you in the future.